Hi, my name is Kobiella, and I'm presenting our paper, If the Machine is as Good as Me, Then What Use Am I? How the use of ChatGPT changes young professionals' perception of productivity and accomplishment. This work was done in collaboration with Yarhy, Flores, López, Franz Waltenberger, Fiona, Draxler, and Albrecht, Schmidt. With the release of OpenAI's ChatGPT in November 2022, large language models, or LLMs, became widely available to the public. Our study focuses on young professionals as they are early adopters of the technology and are likely to have already used LLMs in their academic and professional careers. Our research embarks from a simple observation. As these tools influence our work, they not only augment our abilities, but also challenge our traditional notions of what it means to work, create, and achieve. Let's first explore our chosen study design. We employed a two-phased research approach. Initially, we conducted semi-structured interviews with 10 young professionals to identify key use cases of LLMs. Based on these insights, we formulated our research questions. What motivates knowledge workers to incorporate ChatGPT into their workflows? Which knowledge-centric tasks are most frequently delegated to or augmented by ChatGPT? How do knowledge workers engage with ChatGPT? And with the last one being our main research question, how does the integration of ChatGPT in the workflow affect the individual's sense of productivity and accomplishment? The pre-study laid the groundwork for a comprehensive 2-week diary study with another 21 young professionals. The diary study was designed to capture daily reflections on using ChatGPT. We concluded our study with semi-structured exit interviews. This helped us further contextualize our survey findings, and the methodological framework allowed us to gather rich contextual insights into the evolving dynamics of AI-assisted work. Let's dive deeper into the details of our diary study. Participants in our diary study were between 20 and 27 years old. 34% of the participants identified as female, whereas 66% identified as male. Young professionals had a minimum of 1 month full-time work experience, and their academic background consisted mainly of business and computer science degrees. We administered daily surveys at 6 p.m., which usually marked the end of the participants' working day. We analyzed the qualitative diary study entries using a thematic analysis approach and concluded our study with semi-structured exit interviews. For the study, we asked participants to develop a consulting-style industry report. The tasks included desk research, conducting interviews, and content editing. We chose this task as a proxy for knowledge work, as it mirrors the prevalent tasks of knowledge workers, as shown in previous HCI research. So, what did we find out? Well, firstly, the diary study reports show a high level of perceived productivity as indicated by the hatched bars. Participants reported a medium to high level sense of accomplishment, albeit lower than their perceived productivity. By analyzing the qualitative statements of our diary study surveys and the results of our semi-structured interviews, we elicited distinct drivers and barriers for productivity and sense of accomplishment. We discovered that while ChatGPT significantly enhanced productivity through aspects like time efficiency, increased output, and streamlining information gathering, it also presented challenges. Although participants reported getting tasks done more efficiently, the output provided by ChatGPT did not always meet their quality standards. These included issues of limited reliability, grammar and spelling issues, and generic output, underscoring the need for post-processing and critical reflection of AI-generated content. Looking at the sense of accomplishment, we identified 3 central themes: sense of ownership, task completion, and using ChatGPT in a smart way, with participants mentioning that it made them feel quite accomplished, as their work was basically finding the right prompt. However, several factors also contributed to a diminished sense of accomplishment. Participants disliked the simplicity of the tasks, for example mentioning, prompting required so little work that it doesn't feel like I worked enough. They also mentioned difficulties in prompting effectively, dissatisfaction with the content quality, a decreased sense of ownership over the finished product, and occasional feelings of inferiority. To see the rest of the results, as well as these results in more detail, please refer to the paper. For now, let's move on to the discussion. Our results suggest that successful prompting fosters a sense of accomplishment, and that the sense of accomplishment was mainly attributed to feelings of ownership, control, and contribution to the final output. Participants also reported use cases where they found LLMs not helpful or even hindering. These tasks were mostly related to tasks involving human dialogue, such as facilitating group discussions. There's a lot more to research, and we hope to provide some interesting questions for future work. Is prompting a skill, and how can it be taught? What does it take to develop LLM literacy? And how can we design interaction methods for LLMs that foster a sense of accomplishment? Why should you read this paper? Well, read this paper if you want to find out more about the use cases for LLMs for young professionals and their best practices. And if you want to dive deeper into the nuances of our 15 identified themes and the interplay of productivity and sense of accomplishment. This brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you for tuning in, and feel free to reach out if you have any further questions.